The summer's calling. The summer's calling. If the kingdom is overthrown, meet me at the cornerstone. I know that I can't be without you. This bond is solid gold. We're a diamond and an emerald. It took me forever to find you. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you give will be there to guide you in every way. Now we've been.
My couch is coming.
Well, finally.
The sofa, yeah.
Just in time for Jeez, who's over here? Just in time for
Joe.
Oh, Joe. Joe's got a big head.
Mm-hmm. Hey, good evening, everyone. Robert and Jason here with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Got a little clogged up head here. Is everyone else suffering from allergies? Text 281-401-9008. Text allergies so I know that I can stop having the COVID fears.
Dude, it's not COVID.
I know, I don't have a fever, but I'm constantly sticking a thermometer in my mouth. I'm like, oh my God, I might have COVID. And like, I got my vaccine, but then all these people are getting it. I'm like, oh, I got to run and get my booster shot. And then there's all the secret second, third, and fourth shot that people are doing.
Oh, I heard about that.
Just going
That's
to CVS
crazy.
saying, yeah, I haven't had my vaccination, and they get another shot.
Which is not what you're supposed to do.
No, I don't think that's we definitely gonna get a third arm doing that, right?
Yeah, whatever. I'm checked out on the whole thing. I was at the lake this weekend with a whole bunch of our folks, and one of the guys I was chatting with, I hadn't seen him in, 2 months now. And we started sharing COVID experience. He was like, you know what I did? And I said, what's that? He goes, I went in my backyard with nothing on but my sunglasses and just laid in the sun. I said, you know what? That's the only way I would feel better too. Just like getting that vitamin D.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're taking it, but just something about sitting in that sun where the sun is hotter than you are. It's like, all right, this is nice.
I'm leaving today. I'm going to leave after my last meeting and go right into the pool. Because the pool, when I walked out this morning, was like a resort.
Oh, was it?
I worked on it this weekend, ran the robot, and it was like still perfect. I'm like, oh no, I got the kids coming over cleaning the yard. That pool's going to be a cesspool. Dang it.
Never mind. So I got to do yard guy then, or just replace the whole backyard grass with AstroTurf.
No, I love the pool. It's one of those things. It's like I was telling someone, it's like when I was a kid, there's these triggers in my head. One of them is I had an aunt who didn't own a house, but she house sat for a living. Mm-hmm. She house sat in this house in Livingston, and we could go up there and go into the pool in the summertime because this woman and her husband would go to Europe for the summer.
Yeah.
And we'd be in this house in Livingston, New Jersey with this beautiful pool. And I felt like, man, when you get old, you got to have a pool. That's like a measure of success, right? So that was one of them. And then the other one was, that was really weird. Like, if you could remember, like the Dating Game and the Gong Show and the Match Plus or whatever. Mm-hmm. They always have like, hey, you get to spend 5 nights and 5 days in beautiful Dana Point, California.
Ooh.
And they would show a picture of the harbor. And in my mind, it burned in my mind to say that's success. So I got a pool. Then when I graduated high school, I told this story as well. What do you want to do was always asked of me in high school. And I said, well, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to have this. I want to have New York Giants football season tickets. I want to work at a job where I can wear jeans to work and be successful. And I want to have a house that looks over the water.
Oh, yeah.
So I got all 3 of those plus a pool. I just don't have a place in Dana Point. But that's the last of it. But in your mind, these little things get etched in there like, oh, that's what success is. And I will never give up in that pool. That's just my mindset. Is that pool?
Got to have the pool.
Even sometimes I just stare. I get up my cup of coffee, look out the window, and look at the pool.
Yeah, when I got my first house with a pool, because let's be honest, if you live here in Houston, it's flat.
Yep.
There's very few good views. Like Brian's got a ridiculous view from his house. You've got to be on like one of the freeways or a bayou or something because you can't see
Sixth floor
anything.
in the heights. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just not getting anything. So the only way to have a good view is to have a cool backyard.
Yep.
And so we're doing the same thing over at my place where it's like, yeah, you got to have the pool. You got to have the cool looking backyard as you're standing there eating breakfast, looking out at your palatial estate of 10,000 square feet.
So let me ask the viewing audience and the radio listeners, what is that one thing that when you were younger, what was that one measure of success? If you were going to have it, if it was going to be a Corvette, if it was going to be a house or a boat or a helicopter, what was that one measure of success that was sort of etched in your brain? You know, like birds, right? It was like imprinted on your brain cells. What was it? You can go ahead, you know what? Text it to 281-401-9008, 281-401-9008. I'm just wondering, what was that one measure of success? If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, share that with us, please.
Interesting. I'm trying to think what mine was. Yeah, when you look at somebody or a family or something like that, and then you immediately think, "Oh, that's success."
That's success.
See, for me, like you'd think it'd be a big house, but I'm not into like big houses. That's not it. I don't know.
It was the pool in the Dana Point Harbor. Just remember that. Just burned in my brain. Not until I got to California and I drove through there. I was like, my heart was racing as I came down and looked at the harbor. I was like, oh my God, this is it. Mm-hmm. This is the place that was when I was a kid and was sitting in Irvington, New Jersey, right? Laying on the floor watching TV. That was the place. Price is Right would have, all those little getaways, right? Puerto Vallarta and Dana Point.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's amazing. So anyway, what was that one item? What was that one measure of success? We'd love to know. How was the lake?
It was not bad.
Not bad.
If you guys were following my Facebook this weekend, it was a ton of fun. We're getting a place up there. We got to get a place up there. It's and people are going to be. You're going to think this is hilarious until we got this thing for the summer, and it is the networking opportunities. Because what ends up happening is there's like a bunch of random people that invite like your friends start bringing all these random people in that you've never met. So it's good to just meet a whole bunch of those folks. And then remind me about this successful people and being alone. I'm going to come back to that here in a minute.
Okay.
So had a great time, did some wake surfing, pulled up in Party Cove there in Lake Conroe, and then just started chatting with everybody that has got boats all around us, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, what do? You do this? Oh, that's cool. What do I do? And it turns into, like you get around any successful people, it turns into money and business talk real quick, right? It's like, hey, the boats are cool. We're out here. Got a bunch of friends. That's fine. But it turns into a business discussion real fast. So in any case, that's really what the whole weekend was. I mean, you watch it on Facebook. Yeah, we're having a great time. We're, having a blast at the house and on the lake and all that. But the reality is it turns into business discussions really quick. All the guys that were in the house this weekend, all business owners.
Sure.
It was just a group of business owners. So when you get out there on the lake and there's a bunch of these nice boats, it's like, what do you guys do? And, oh man, what do you see out there? How's your industry going? It's all that kind of stuff. So it was great. We'll be out there. What's coming up? Labor Day? We'll be out there that weekend, and I'm sure it's going to be absolutely insane. There'll be a ton of people out there. But, I find the lake crowd to be different than the beach crowd. And I don't know, because you're down at Surfside. There's nothing like this in Surfside. It's just not big enough, right?
Yeah, I'm Port Aransas.
Yeah, so you're down in Port Aransas, and I don't know if it's really like that. I think it's more of because you're on the lake, and then you're skiing and stuff. It's really kind of that boat scene, if you will, than it is just owning a house on the lake. Even though now we know all the people that are kind of around us now, so it's kind of that part's pretty cool.
It's going to be interesting to spend October in Port Aransas, right?
Yeah.
Late September to see who's there. Hey, guys, this is Robert and Jason from the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. We'll be back.
You're going to get all the winter Texans down there.
Yeah, we started shifting. I'm talking to guys tomorrow about getting some ads up. Winters. October, November, December, January would be nice. And there's one or two we're probably just going to shut down, pull off the listings.
Oh, really?
Because it's so cheap. I got condos down there I'm paying $700 for, right?
Oh,
Plus
yeah.
$200. And so it's $800. If I carry the management forward, it's $1,300. I'm like, I'm not sure I'll make that. So
Oh, yeah.
just use it for the workers.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Robert Orfino, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. We just charge back the company for it anyway.
We do.
Because they got to stay somewhere.
Absolutely. Yep.
So anyway, we're talking about owning real estate and silliness on the lake and all that. It was, like I said, it was a ton of fun. I have looked up there from time to time. The problem with Lake Conroe is there's a bunch of HOAs, so a lot of these places you can't Airbnb. So we're trying to figure out what the best option for that market's going to be. But yeah, I think we're going to get something up there. It's just too many. I just see too much opportunity with the few times that I've been there this past summer.
Is it like Havasu? Is it just all debauchery on the lake?
There's a lot of families out there, and
it's family?
There is some families, and so
Because Havasu is just like
Havasu's absolutely crazy.
yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
It's one of the places I want to DJ at, like somewhere Party Grove at Lake Havasu. But
yeah, it's crazy.
Here's
It's Vegas on the water is what it
that's
is.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So what we notice is when in Party Cove, when there's a lot of families, all the cops show up. They're not doing. I mean, nothing's happening, right? But they literally had 3 guys in boats.
Yep.
I'm sorry, 3 boats out there. And there really wasn't that many people out there. And I was chatting with one of the guys. I'm like, man, what's with the police presence? I mean, there's not that many people out here. And they goes, well, half of them are families. So we think it's probably the family crowd. But, I mean, we had a couple of boats tied up next to us that were, a bunch of families. And it wasn't anything. It wasn't any big deal. Yeah, it doesn't get too crazy. Let me put it that way. Now, when you go back for the house parties and the evening starts to get a little late, and truth be told, and you guys are going to find this shocking, I'm usually in bed before things get really crazy because you're out there in the lake all day, right? And you got to work a little bit. So the guys that are working the boats, I mean, it's not all fun, right? So by the time it hits midnight, 1 a.m., I've been on the water all day. I'm still fighting this cold. Got cough medication running through my veins. I'm like, I'm out, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow, right? So it's not like Havasu. It's not like, is it Lake Travis in Austin that gets kind of wild? I mean, it doesn't get that like buck wild, but it can. So, but it wasn't this weekend. It was pretty tame.
Arrowhead up in California.
Yeah, absolutely. Tahoe if it wasn't so cold.
Let's go on. So you're saying rich people being alone?
Yeah. So here's a fascinating observation. So a couple of guys grabbed me this weekend. Hey, man, you need to get involved here and here and here, and so we can all start hanging out some more. And it's something I've talked a little bit about, but it was something that came up this weekend as a point of discussion with all the guys that were there. And that is, the more successful you become, the less you can screw other people. Because the sphere of influence is, how can I put this? We cast a large sphere of influence, but word travels fast. So if there's somebody in the group that is not doing good business or the things they shouldn't be doing, let me put it this way, word gets out pretty quick. And what I'm finding is as we're starting to climb these different echelons of successful folks, everybody's connected by like 1 or 2 degrees of separation. I'm like, this guy told me his name. Well, who'd you work with? And I'm like, holy cow, like this guy was in my network. He's a couple of degrees of separation away. I was randomly at Texas Tea Tavern, and I met Sean out there. And this gal walks up who knows the owner. We happen to be talking to the owner. First time we'd met the owner up there. And he says, hey, this is, I don't know what her name was, Shannon or something, right? And Shannon's like, oh, I know who you are, Mr. Real Estate. I was like, holy cow, how would you, So...
I mean, you didn't have to put a magnet on the side of your truck?
No, I don't have to put a magnet on my truck.
What?
Yeah. No magnet on the truck. I didn't wear a shirt with my name on it. I didn't give her a business card with my picture on it.
CEO.
I know, CEO.
Oh, that's funny.
Founder, all that nonsense. Anyway, so what I thought was so fascinating is, these guys really want to get me involved in all their networks, right? They're like, yeah, man, I got to introduce you to this guy and that guy. And so you can't, it starts to become lonely at the top, if you will, but as you ascend that hierarchy, guys start grabbing you. And by the way, I don't see this with women. This is where it gets kind of weird. This seems to be something strictly with dudes, where it's like, hey, I'll introduce you to this guy, and we can do this over here. It's been very interesting because it's a lot more team oriented.
Yeah. So again, once you hit a level of success, then it's about making sure that other people around you are successful. Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, oh God, I was just thinking. One of the things I want to talk about today is at the Stampede, guy that I don't know if we know him but I've seen him at those events. He came up, he said, "Yeah, hey, remember last year? Remember how you were talking about this deal? And well, I got that deal."
Okay, great.
I'm like,
man.
all right. He's like, "Yeah, you guys, you were talking about maybe discussing it. Jason discussed it. I went and found it, and I got that deal, and it's a great deal." And I'm like, "So what are you doing?
Okay, well, what does that have to
What
do?
are you gloating? Is that what you're? Is that the deal?" And I'm like, and then we had our investor liaison, Jamie, just say, "You need to be in a better set of rooms, right?"
Yes.
And that connected to me with this kid who thought he was, I beat Mr. Texas Real Estate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, you're dead. You don't even understand that, your career is going absolutely nowhere with that mindset. And then again, we just need more valuable rooms with people in them. And it's not talking about money. We're just talking about the quality of people in there. And that's what you're talking about. When you hit to that level, and I've been there. I've been there, with Steven from California. He's like, hey, call this guy, call this guy. Here, let me give you his number.
Let me give you all these dudes.
Call this guy, tell him you know me. And let's see because once you're at that success level, then it's like, it's lonely.
That's exactly what it is.
It's lonely. So you want people up there, right? It's like, it's cool that you and your brother-in-law can jump on a private jet and go to Vegas.
Yeah.
But it'd be even cooler if 7 other successful business owners were on that private jet.
That's right.
And it just becomes lonely. And then you're looking around, and it's a brother-in-law hanger on, just sort of tagging along, a wingman when you need it. And it's really not that lifestyle that's conducive to what you thought it was going to be. So when you're successful, when people get successful, they want to help others.
Yeah, and it's been really interesting these last few months because for whatever reason, it's accelerated the last couple of months, probably because things are starting to open back up. And so it was kind of like the discussion you had Thursday night with somebody. I don't want to mention him on the radio, but a conversation you had with a gentleman Thursday night, and he basically said, you guys have no idea how big you are. Like, you are in so many places. Everyone knows. So now we're getting into these networks as things are starting to open up, and guys are just like, oh, call this guy. Oh, by the way, we're doing a party here. Why don't you come over here and meet all these people? We got another house party over here. And you're just like, whoa, it's accelerating very fast.
Yeah.
So, which is, it's going to present its own set of challenges. But yeah, you're absolutely right. What happens is they see somebody who's doing really well and they're like, oh yeah, you got to be a part of this group, man. Like, this is going to be your people. We're going to have a blast. Because otherwise, why become successful if you're just going to be lonely? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, and then but when you find your kindred spirits, right? When you find that fellowship, then it's just constant ebb and flow of knowledge and wisdom and a little, current events, but back to knowledge and wisdom and trials and tribulations and just sharing all that information, right?
Yeah,
and connecting. Hey, call this guy. Hey, I know this guy. Oh, just remembered you guys are. You got to go do this guy. Call this guy, and all of a sudden it just starts moving that way.
Here's what's funny: that kid that had told you, "Oh yeah, I got that deal instead of you guys," that would never come up. In fact, you would be ejected from the group if you said something. You're like, "Hey man, this is not for you," right? But you know what's so funny about that comment is, "Oh man, you got one. We probably bought 15 that month,
good for you.
And we don't even remember the deal." Right. So here's what's fascinating: if you're living a life of abundance.
Yep.
You would never have that mindset. That's a lack mentality.
Yeah.
And we love to, hey, we didn't get that one. No big deal. We'll just go to the next one.
I didn't even think about it till the kid brought it up. I'm like, oh, wow. You're burning in your head to find me and tell me that.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Robert Jason with the world renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Hang tight. We'll be back. Yeah, I got that one. Oh, okay. Good for you.
That's great, buddy. Okay. I'm glad I wasn't there. I've been like, that's what you came over here to tell me?
Yeah.
Like, all right, man.
It's just stupid.
Good for you, buddy.
We definitely need better rooms.
Oh, we're just going to make them.
Yep.
We're going to make them. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. So anyway, yeah, good on you, buddy. You got one there. Yeah. Great. Hey, you know what's weird? I can't own them all.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's figured that out yet.
Yeah.
I can't buy them all in Surfside. I can't own all the apartment. Like, I can't own them all. In fact, this is what Jordan Peterson says. Jordan Peterson has a great breakdown when people say it's not winning, it's how you play the game. Mm-hmm. What he really means is you need to play well with others. Because what ends up happening, and this is happening in my life right now in real time.
Sure.
If you play well with others, people want to play with you.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to help you.
And a guy like that comes out and says, ha ha, I got one from you. Who wants to play with this moron?
No one.
No, he's an idiot, right? So it's like, this guy is ridiculous. He's the kind of guy that's going to be, I hate to even relate it to this, but I've been going out so often. He's the guy that's just going to embarrass you in front of people when you're out in a group of crowd. Yeah, you're like, this is not conducive to any of that. So it's, I can't believe having that mentality.
Yes. And I think that next step is already here for us, and we're trying to bring people along. It's like, hey, come on, let's go, right? And yeah, when you're in those rooms, when you're on the lake and you're talking to those guys, a good friend of mine, Michael, just said, hey, and he told the story. He's like, I was out with this guy who owns like 35 hotels. Mm-hmm. He's like, and we are at, I forget the club in San Diego, Beach Club.
Yeah.
He's like, and we spent the whole day on the beach, and all we talked was business.
Yeah.
And relaxed, and went in the water, and drank mimosas and margaritas, and everything was great. But we spent the whole day just talking business.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you talk about with your friends?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, when you get guys who don't talk about, and you're like, oh, this is, again, it goes to that 5 people around you, right? Mm-hmm. When you're, hey, you got parties coming up. It's Labor Day, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be at the barbecue. Just be acutely aware of, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Are we complaining about Biden? Are we complaining about the governor? Are we complaining about COVID? Are we talking about masks? Are we talking about all this stuff? Or are we focused on, hey, I'm relaxing today, but my mind is still there?
I'll tell you what happened yesterday. I get back in town. I'm not even to my house yet, and I get a text from a couple guys. Then all it says is "Fun Day Sunday?" ? And I'm like, yeah, I could be game for that. Mm-hmm. So I eventually get out of the house, and I don't know, like 4 o'clock, and I'm sitting there with a group of guys. You know what we start talking about? Business immediately. Yep. They're working on some deals. We're working on some deals. And we're having these conversations for literally hours. Now, of course, we're enjoying the club and the club scene and bouncing around from bar to bar. But that's all we're doing is talking about business the whole time. So I was listening to a podcast recently with Andrew Tate. And he said, you know, when I decided to go from a kickboxer to a business owner, he said, me and my brother used to sit there and just talk about business. You go to a coffee shop and say, how could this coffee shop make more money? He said, nobody ever analyzes anything anymore.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Yeah, you're like, how could this be better? Could we do this? Could we do that? What's their marketing look like?
There's a bagel shop, and I sit there and I wait in line. I was like, you need a second register. You just need a second register because you're turning me off. You're demotivating me to come here.
Yeah.
If I only have 15 minutes, I won't come here.
Yep.
When I should be able to walk in and there should be 2 registers. I look at it all the time.
So you've bought, I know you're not an Apple guy, but when you go to the Apple store, I've spent 10 grand in less than 15 minutes there before. Like we went in, I was outfitting the other studio, and I was doing a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, I need that. I need those 4 laptops. And literally 15 minutes, loaded on the cart, 10 Gs.
Yep.
Pulled my car. It took me longer to get my truck pulled around so they could put it in there. And you look at an experience like that, and Tesla's the same way. Hey, man, car's ready, send the wire.
Yep.
Like, there's no finance officer and all that nonsense in the back room of the dealership. It's like, dude, send your money, let's go. So making those things, analyzing those businesses and figuring out where those bottlenecks are is critical. But most people don't sit there and think. They kind of just mope along in the same mode and the same kind of just going through the motions. You know, he was bringing up a really good point. I've been listening to a ton of podcasts lately. I'm actually going to be on Rich Cooper's podcast tonight if you guys are interested in that. But no one plans. Let me put it this way. You cannot be successful without a plan. You have to plan for success. here's what I find fascinating. I got in a really interesting conversation with somebody last night over text message. And the conversation was, most people are not successful in many areas of their life because A, they don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. B, they don't know what they want. But then C, they can't even make it past those two. And then the third thing is they never plan for success. Yeah. So you have to plan for success in your personal life just like you do in your business life.
I mean, yeah, most people are they're afraid of success more than they're afraid of failure, right? Because they're comfortable. And having to move up and be successful means they'll have to be uncomfortable, have to undo everything they've done.
Well,
and that's the problem. The safety of mediocrity, right?
That's absolutely right. Jordan Peterson puts it this way. You have to have an ideal. And once you have an ideal, this is meeting the ideal, it's meeting the standard, or it's not.
Yep.
And the problem is when you have that ideal, it then becomes a judge. And then you're responsible for something. And what I find is the vast majority of people don't really want to be responsible.
No, not at all.
So you're supposed to be successful in your personal and professional life, but you don't even have the discipline to manage yourself.
In that corporate world, you find it all the time, right? People are just really adverse to risk.
Yeah.
Because they're just happy where they're at, right? You can tell the guy, when you're a boss, you can tell who's going to be a leader and who's not going to be a leader, right?
Yeah, within 10 minminutes.
Right, 10 minutes. All right, let me work with this guy, right? These people over here are very safe in what they're doing. They're fine. They're going to cogs in the machine, right? We need them. And then you pull out that one person who's like, this guy's going to move, or this woman really got it. So
I will give you this. Risk-averse people make default rules because they want to fail in the most successful ways possible.
That's right.
One of the best quotes from Ryan Stone. When I read that in his book, I was like, that's absolutely right. You're going to set all these rules up and conditions. You're going to call them your standards, even though we all know all you're doing is you just don't want to take action. So you're going to fail in the most successful way possible by not doing anything because it doesn't, quote, meet your standard. And I'm like, your psychology is so warped, I don't even know how to fix you.
Yeah, but you just have to run from those people. That's part of everyone's problem when you start moving up is the people that are just pulling on your boots down, right?
Yes.
Just grabbing your ankles and pulling you down. And it's so easy to get caught back up in their drama or commiserate with their misery, right? And it's so easy. It's like, nope, can't do it, right?
All the guys I was with this weekend, do you know how much complaining there was?
Probably nothing.
Zero.
Yeah, nothing. Unless the guy stubbed his toe or something.
Well, yeah. But right. We actually had two guys cut themselves on the boat. There was like blood everywhere. I'm like, what is going on? It's like a bloodbath in here. Anyways, there's no complaining. When people start complaining, I'm like, oh, jeez.
Also, so I was I'll go back to, look, got 1 minute left here. Hey, guys, it's still in August here. We still have a special going on our mastermind, $5,000 off total, $2,500 off of year one, $2,500 off year two. That's $2,500 off of year one, $2,500 off of year two. That's coming to an end on Labor Day. So midnight on Labor Day will be the last time to sign up. Go ahead and send us some money and get involved. You guys all know what it's about. You're listening to us. You understand what the value is. It's time to get moving on your building out your assets, building out your portfolio. I think I've got 7 or 8 follow-up calls this week on the mastermind. Folks that are interested in trying to figure it out. So looking forward to bringing in at least 5 new people by the end of the month. So if that's you, give us a shout at 281-401-9008. Just text mastermind to 281-401-9008. 281-401-9008. Text the word mastermind. Jason and Robert, we'll be back.
Who's ready for Papacitos?
Not me.
No?
No. I'll go with the iced tea. No, I got work to do. Where's Brian?
Oh, text him.
He's got a couple draws to do for me.
Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network.
So I was at, again, the Stampede event, and you've heard of the expression, desperation is the world's worst cologne, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm talking to a guy about credit card processing. And I say to him, yeah, it's kind of tough. We don't do it anymore. We just take PayPal or we take a check because they want to hold back our reserves.
Yeah, it's a total
because
pain.
It's a real pain. It's like, oh, we found a way with that. We sued, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, man. Well, just, it's robert@mrtxre.com. Send me over your information. I'll take a look. He's got what he needed. He's got my email.
Yeah.
I just gave it to him. Everyone at the table said he's a decision maker. They all pointed to me.
Yeah.
He found me. He got my email, and then he won't stop talking. I'm like, so I turned to him, and both Zia and Rebecca are watching. I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop this conversation right now because you're about to lose the sale. I gave you what I was going to give you. I told you what to do, and now you're still talking to me at an event that I'm supposed to be marketing. You have to leave now. And I mean, Rebecca's eyes and Zia's eyes pop open, and I'm like, you have to go away now. We're done.
We're done, man. Go find somebody else to sell to.
And that guy, then I look at the card, and you know what it is? It's a network marketing group for credit cards.
Oh.
I'm like, come on, MLM stuff. I'm like, get it. I'm never going to get the best deal because everyone else has got to get a taste. You and your 5-7 people in your upline, right?
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, this is, and it was like an old crusty card, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
This is not the way to go about it. But there's a guy who's living in desperation, right? It's just like, oh wow, he could have got my name. He could have shouted me out and said, hey man, I'm gonna come by your side of town. I'll bring coffee. Where do you want, right?
Yeah.
No one. We finally got one guy from Patent Title that acts like a real rep, a real salesperson.
He's the first title person I've ever worked with.
First guy who's absolutely doing what he's supposed to do.
And actually with all the title folks, I mean, they drop by and do all that stuff, but this guy's hustling. I'm like, this is good.
He is hustling, but doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And again, he gets in that room, and what does he want to do? He wants to make you more successful.
That's right.
Versus this guy who wants to tell me all the details and just won't let me go because I finally got someone who's interested. It's like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah, it's kind of shocking. It's people do know who we are, but they are not selling to us the right way.
Well, it's the classic. They always pitch past the save, right?
Yeah.
It's like you've already won. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
You're pitching past the sale, like slow. Okay, you got my note. Great. Well, the problem is, it does go back to that desperation, right? And it's when you're first starting out, it's that lack of abundance mentality because you don't know what it's supposed to look like. It was so funny chatting with a couple of guys this weekend. They said, "Man, how are you going to find a house on Lake Conroe? You don't really work this market." I'm like, "It'll come to me." I'm like, I put
we can have it at the end of the week if we just put
if I really want it, I can have it by the end of the week. Yeah. So it's like, and how do I know that? Because for whatever reason, the universe knows that's what I'm looking for. It will show up.
Absolutely.
No, actually, know how I know what it is? I sit down and write it down. You can't get what you don't write down in anything in your life. So here's the deal. I know who I am. I know what I want. What's the goal? Get a lake house.
Yep.
On Lake Conroe.
Yep.
Guys started sending me stuff from all kinds of different. I'm like, guys, it's Lake Conroe.
Right.
We don't know. These other lakes are great. Livingston's great. Yeah. I'm like, oh, Lake Conroe's right here. So in any case, it'll just come to me. I know it will because it always does.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean there's not going to be some frustration in waiting. We're going to have to look at a couple properties. There'll probably be some deals that fall out. But eventually, inside some 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, a deal's going to pop up and we're going to go, that's it. Yep. That's a good one. Let's take that one down. It's not magic.
It's been my last 9 years of my life. Right?
I know.
A lot of frustration, but stuff shows up, right? And I were just talking last night. It's like, okay, so Model Y is going to be delayed, so let's move down the ski resort up, move that up on the list.
A notch?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. It's like not too many things left to get.
Yeah.
Not too many things left, and then that's what I wanted, and we're good to go. And it's like, well, then why do I keep working after that? I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
May do something else, but yeah, we're getting there. I think again, same thing with me. I definitely know who I am. Definitely know that. I know what I want. Been listing it out for the last 10 years, and unlike others, I can stop when I have it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem too. I'm looking around and it's like, how much do you want? Well, I've already got what I wanted. Well, then what are you doing?
And why do we keep doing all this other stuff?
Because they don't know who they are. They don't know that, hey, maybe I'm not this. I got to be something else. This is, we looked at, again, the big thing. I mean, someone doing it again. We're sitting there in this event, and there's like, you need the 7 whys, the whys, the whys, the whys. And we're like, yeah, we get it. But someone asked her, what do you want? She's like, well, I just want to be financially secure. And he's like, no, that's going to come. What do you want? What do you want to do? What's your dream job? What is your perfect day? And then she blurted out, I want to be a ski instructor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And we're like, all right, well, we're getting, that's on the list.
Okay. We can do
Let's
it.
do this. Yeah, absolutely. Sister-in-law's got a place up there. My wife could go work up there for sure. It's like, you got to be kidding me, right? So finding out who you are, what you want is like step one. And again, we have a lot of people in our mastermind. I don't really blame them because they're type A, they're masters of the universe. They can bend space and time to their will, right?
Yeah.
And they skip that first part.
Yeah, they skip right over it. You
And
go,
I'm
wait
like,
a second.
hey, man, you got time out. I need to know what you want.
So here's what's crazy. If you produce all that action without some kind of plan, you may get exactly what you don't want.
Well, you get chaos, right?
Yeah, you may get, and I could tell you personally, I've kind of dealt with some of that over the last year where I wasn't as thoughtful in my planning. I ended up somewhere where I was like, whoa.
Well, you're the last companies you owned, right? You know what you wanted when you started, but you were nowhere near it at the end of it, right?
At the end of it, we were like, because we never went back and checked, like, okay, how close are we? How close are we? And then some personal stuff too, where you end up in the situation where you're like, wait a second here, this is not, this is big time out. This is not what I planned for, or not what I wanted, but I certainly didn't plan it right. So you've got to be cognizant of those things. And you're always up. Now, why do you write it down? Why do you plan it? Because then you'll be looking for it. Subconsciously be looking for it, right? And it'll show up.
Everywhere. You'll see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll just show up.
Yeah. It's weird. There's a name to that. When you start writing it down and you start focusing on it, then you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's real, right? And so again, when you get lost in that, what's for dinner? Do I have to do laundry? Do I have to iron shirts? I got to pick up from the dry cleaner. I've got to cut the lawn. I got to clean the pool. You get lost in that world, you miss so dang much, right? And so every so often, you kind of need to focus. We focus a lot here. We are running that whiteboard every other week or so, and we've got some stuff to do this week on that whiteboard to say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run this out for the next 6 months and see where it takes us and make some adjustments and move on. But again, if you're looking for help, you need some focus, you want to build out that portfolio, it's time to join the mastermind. Text mastermind to 281-401-9008, 281-401-9008. Got a special going this month. You've heard it all before. Go to our website, mrtxre.com. Got 30 seconds left, Jason.
I'm going to go ahead and deem us the most successful real estate group in the country, because no one has anywhere close to the success rate we've got. We have 1 out of 60.
At our level.
At
yes.
our level, yeah.
At our level, yeah.
1 out of
60.
60.
You mean for the mastermind? Oh,
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Not even close.
Heck
like,
yeah.
The rest of the country's not even close.
Yeah.
1 divided by...
Except for the other mastermind, it makes people, doesn't take them unless they're successful. There was no growth.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
98%.
Yeah, we're doing very,
Doing okay. We have a
very
98% success rate. If you're not successful here, it ain't us.
It's not us.
It is not us. I can tell you that right now. It is definitely not us.
All right, guys. We'll be back